Well, that's one way to end a Thursday night football game. I'll tell you what, that was one of the most entertaining fourth quarters and overtime that I could see in this rivalry, and that does include the Alex Smith comeback that they had that year. That was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, and Tyreek Hill in the fourth quarter and overtime just absolutely put on a clinic. And yes, you're not going to like it, but I do have something to say about what happened and the result of it. So, welcome back to RGR Football. My name is Daniel Harms. For those of you that are new, make sure you're hitting that like, the sub, and the bell notification so you're getting everything Ryan and I do on the entire crew over at RGR does every single week. Tons of content. This Friday is incredible. I feel like I slept, even though I didn't. My daughter kept me up all night last night, and obviously going to sleep after the game, she decided that instead of, sleeping after I got done watching the game, she would sleep up until the point that I got done, and then decided she wanted to wake up. So I'm a little tired, but still the adrenaline, the exhilaration from watching that game last night, and that walk-off touchdown is still coursing through my veins. But after everything, I still think we've got some things to talk about. So I'm gonna have my reaction now. I've slept on the game and I've had some mental notes. I've got some things to talk about, get off my chest. So first of all, I don't regret saying that the defensive line should be embarrassed for what happened. They got absolutely manhandled up front without Chris Jones, without Willie Gay. They just were not very physical. They got, like I said, they got moved around a lot. And yes, the game plan from the Chargers was basically to do that. They played a lot of 12 personnel. They did a lot of play action passes, which move the linebackers from side to side because they don't have that speed that Willie Gay has. So they did a good job of adjusting their game plan to fit what they wanted to do, specifically offensively. They knew that as a true drop back offense, it wasn't going to be exactly as they wanted it to. So they knew they had to run the ball well, and they had to use play action to really create some chunk plays downfield, which they did. And unfortunately, the teeth of that defense just got eaten up time after time after time, and it was frustrating to watch, definitely. But I think at the end of the day, Spags made a decision. Basically, don't let Justin Herbert beat you over top for touchdowns, which he didn't. They didn't get those long touchdowns at all. And you chose the lesser of two evils with having them run the football down their throats, as accustomed to Justin Herbert just doing whatever he wanted to. I think that the corners played relatively well. Mike Williams still was able to hit some big plays. Keenan Allen kind of ate them alive underneath and in some of the intermediate parts of the field. But they didn't get the big shots down the field. Jalen Guyton outside of the touchdown that he caught, which was an unfortunate miscue for Tyrann Mathieu, just wasn't able to generate a whole lot. Like I said, they were in a lot of 12 personnel, so they did want to keep that protection up. So I do think we can effectively tip our hats to Steve Spagnuolo, knowing that yes, they're going to run the ball pretty much whatever they want to, however they want to, but he's not going to get beat deep. And I respect that. It's much like the Chargers knew that they might not have that ability to really beat them deep, so they chose to run the ball too. And then when it came down to it, in those short areas when the defense could actually buckle down, they held the Chargers out of the end zone multiple times, kept the game close. They got a fortunate bounce with Jared Cook not catching would have been sure touchdown. And every game, every close game like this, you need something to happen to bounce your way. And I do believe that him not catching that touchdown pass from Justin Herbert helped, maybe was one of the reasons the Chiefs won the game. And getting all that momentum and all of that creation from the turnovers and the turnovers on downs, it was nice to see, but the offense didn't do a whole lot with them up until the fourth quarter. And specifically that interception, the tip pass interception to himself that Nwosu put off, was a great play by him. Well, Patrick needs to do a better job. They were specifically, every time they ran a running back out to the flat, not every time, but a lot of times they ran the running back out to the flat and had a little flare. Nwosu was kind of moving with him. He would open up into that space. He wasn't pass rushing those situations. He was reading, because he knows in those short situations, Mahomes wants to get the ball out quick and into the flat. Had been working for the Chiefs, specifically against the two high safeties. So it was smart on him and just not a great play by Mahomes to do that. And I know everyone wants to talk about the fumble that they think wasn't. I think it was a fumble, and I know that's not going to be a very popular opinion, but from what I saw, when he pumped, is when he brought it down, the ball starts to come loose. It's just like any fumble. When it starts to come loose, it's automatically ruled as a fumble, even though if possession isn't fully lost. As soon as it starts to be dislodged, that by rule becomes a fumble. That's why they didn't overturn it. And that's what they call it on that in the field. So that's my opinion. Either way, no big deal. No harm, no foul came out of that. So yeah, take care of the ball a little bit better. Obviously, like I said, the interception was a great play by Nwosu, but you have to understand the position where you're in and what they're keying on some situations like that. But I think that the offense, again, to open the game, absolutely decimated the Chargers. 95-yard drive for a touchdown, and then after that, they continued to struggle. And I think the Chargers did a good job of correcting that very first play to Tyreek Hill where he ran off the RPO for that first down, the 10-yard gain. That didn't happen again. They got some of the same looks, but they were faster to the ball. So that 10-yard gain turned into 5, 4, and 3-yard gains instead of the 10-yard first down. So the adjustment process that the Chargers went through worked well. And then the Chiefs, it took too long to adjust. That corner route that Mahomes hit the Tyreek Hill that he floated over the three defenders basically is one I want to see more of. That play specifically is there against the defenses you're seeing. And you can hit these corner routes. Mahomes just didn't have the confidence to do that enough. It's not being drawn up enough. And I know that everyone wants to blame Eric Bieniemy for the play calling. The fact of the matter is that sometimes execution really does matter. And the Chiefs offense has not executed the plays properly. And really the run game against the Chargers was bad from everybody. They were not setting themselves up for success. The scheme, the play calls weren't great on the ground. The offensive line of execution wasn't great in the run game. And then both Clyde and Darrell had their struggles finding room to maneuver. Running right into Linval Joseph isn't exactly what I would call a good strategy. So they needed to do a better job of adjusting on the fly. And that's an irritating part for me specifically because I think we've seen the Chiefs run game actually look pretty good for the most part. They're not getting big explosive plays because they don't have explosive running backs, but in terms of long speed, but that's by design apparently. They have 3 guys on the roster that don't have that kind of speed, and the Derek Gore touchdown last week came because you had 8 guys in the box. And it just took a little bit of time to form. And then when there's nobody else in the secondary, you can run for freedom. So that doesn't happen a whole lot, specifically when you're playing against a Chargers team that just doesn't want you to throw the ball. And they also rallied to the ball in the run game very well. The screens game is pretty much non-existent outside of the Michael Burton screen. And there's something going on with that, whether it's being given away too quickly by the offensive lineman. Something's going on. It's a little bit head scratching because Andy Reid's been so good at scheming these types of screens and things like that. But let's stop talking about the negativity. Let's talk about what happened in the fourth quarter and overtime. And you're not going to like this either because I do believe that Derwin James being out, it positively impacted the game for the Chiefs. Obviously, I think that was very obvious. They had to put somebody who was not as physically gifted on Travis Kelce. And you notice multiple times he was forced to hold him. That's why he got that holding penalty first off. And then he was wide open. The guy couldn't recover, and he almost scores on that play. They obviously score 2 plays later. Darrell Williams not able to get in on the 1-yard line. And then they get that touchdown throw to Tyreek Hill. But Travis Kelce finally came alive a little bit. And I think that as much as it takes for Derwin James to pretty much not be covering him, I'm going to have to look at the All-22 to see if he was open before then at times that Derwin James played. But there was about 40 snaps where Derwin James didn't play, and Travis Kelce was pretty much Travis Kelce. So I want to see how that impacted specifically. But I don't think it's a coincidence that he went off the field and Travis Kelce started to get more confident and started to get the ball thrown his way a little bit more as being open. But that doesn't take away from the gifts that he possesses after the catch. Let's be fully aware of what he's able to do. The plays that he makes and the hip turn and knowing where the spaces are on the field that are uninhabited by defenders is next level. I don't believe there's ever been a tight end in NFL history that has been able to do what Travis Kelce does when he gets the ball in his hands, in terms of he doesn't have to be the quickest, he doesn't have to be the twitchiest, he doesn't have to be the fastest, but every move that he makes, there's no movement wasted. So he comes in and out of his breaks with absolutely, he has got speed momentum. He doesn't have to, he just generates forward motion and forward acceleration in a different way than a guy like Tyreek Hill does. With every purpose, every step he takes, and every movement he makes, every step he takes, every move he makes. But he goes in that general direction, starts to actually like create that positive acceleration without wasting any movement. That's how he's able to do that and pull away from guys who were actually faster than him on paper, but they could not catch up to him until he just got too tired at the end of that play. And I honestly believe that Patrick Mahomes feels back, because that he made the offense didn't look good, and he was having some struggles. Obviously, the throw to McCole Hardman, where he just didn't have the ball right. Maybe the snap was a little bit late. He couldn't find the laces; they were underneath where he had grip on it, and then he's just trying to get rid of the ball too quickly on that fourth down. All contributed to it. But he didn't have much confidence, specifically after the fumble, after the interception that he threw. He probably didn't. He probably feels much worse about the interception after looking back. And then, obviously, that throw went right into the dirt, bouncing right to McCole Hardman. Not great. And then the fourth quarter comes around after that fumble, after that interception. And that's when I think he really started to finally take a bit more chances. The field opened up a bit more for them. The offense started to flow properly. I think he generated as much confidence as he's had because it wasn't against the Raiders. Like, that's the thing that it all comes down to. As much as Derwin James wasn't playing in that second half and into overtime, he generated confidence by getting those completions, them turning into big positive gains without bad things happening. And I think that when they saw that flag on the big play of Travis Kelce, and then they got the relief that it was against the Chargers for holding, like, that gives you a lot of confidence. And that's something that the offense hasn't had outside of playing against the Raiders, because the Raiders don't want to change what they do. But everybody else plays specifically against the Chiefs. Now, they have had some of the answers to the cover two, the two deep high safeties that they're seeing. They're playing more 12 personnel. Blake Bell has started to block pretty well and do some things specifically for the Chiefs that help, because you can play those 12 personnel, you can block a little bit more effectively, and you can maybe take some shots downfield into those windows that you're looking at. But I think Noah Gray not seeing any targets last night is a detriment to the offense. They're wanting to use more 12 personnel, but they're going to have to start throwing the ball to him. Otherwise, how is he going to get any confidence? So I want to see that a little bit more. Definitely, like I said, the two high points are Patrick Mahomes finding that connection back with Travis Kelce after weeks of just not being there, and then the defense in the red zone absolutely putting the clamps on the Chargers on those fourth downs, helped them win this game. I'm still not fully convinced, and I know that I think that his confidence is back, Mahomes' confidence is back. I'm not convinced that the offense is there yet, just because it took until they were basically they had to score to keep pace to win that game. When you're backed into a corner, you start taking more chances, and it feels right now that when game's close and you're kind of in it, but you're not, you always have the lead, they get too conservative, and Mahomes doesn't want to take some chances where he typically would have. Like, if you watched Justin Herbert in that game, he did a lot of things that Patrick Mahomes used to do a little bit more. But it was easier when they're not playing you the two deep shells. And Mahomes is not as natural of a pocket quarterback as Justin Herbert is. I don't mean that as a slight to Mahomes. It just wasn't his style. You see him making plays off script in this game and making those plays. That's where he's at his best. Like, the peak Patrick Mahomes is him making a guy miss or getting through that B gap that we saw him time after time, because Joey Bosa kept coming around the edge. So he comes up through that B gap. When he's able to do that, that's when the whole offense unlocks, because the play is no longer scripted. Guys can try to get open. Mahomes, he sees them much better. He sees the field better when he's out on the run. He knows that he can get the ball anywhere he needs to. So I want to see the structure of the offense to be a bit better. They need to be a little bit better in the pocket. Mahomes needs to find guys that aren't Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill on a regular basis. I think Byron Pringle got involved a good amount. He got 3 or 4 targets in the game, but the trust level is developing there. I think that McColl actually had a wide open touchdown in that game that Mahomes didn't see. So I think that the trust level really needs to get there with everybody. But his confidence is definitely going to be up after this game. You have 2 out of AFC West AFC games in the Steelers and the Bengals coming up. I do think those are games that Patrick Mahomes can start to maybe take some more chances and get more comfortable. I think that they need to dominate those games, specifically against the Bengals, because the Bengals offense is going to try to go toe-to-toe with them. So I think they need to try to get out early and get up often on those on the Bengals specifically, and they can do that with the offense that they have. Again, the confidence needs to really be there for them to keep going. And I think when it all comes down to this, Tyreek Hill made everything happen in this game. I'm going to do a film review on him as soon as I get the film from this game. He was incredible. I think that he was fighting I think it was a cramp. I don't know exactly what he was fighting through when he was on the sideline there. It was hurting. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to, assume exactly what it is. But the fact that he was able to get back on the field so quickly and then be effective makes me believe that it was a cramp-like thing. So that's good for him going forward. But the things that he does and the way that the Chiefs were able to pick up some of these blitzes and get Mahomes out of the pocket on some of these blitzes definitely helps the confidence level, because you have to hit. If they don't get home on that blitz, someone's coming open. And it was Tyreek Hill and it was Travis Kelce. They did a great job of finding those spots. And again, when it comes down to it, when those 3 guys are humming, the offense hums. So they were unlocked finally unlocked. I think that the Chiefs offense will finally get to that point. Now they have a platform to really go off of. They have 2 games now in a row where they put up over 34 points, and I think that's something you can really look forward to seeing in the trajectory of the offense. It's definitely a confidence booster, and it builds some of that expectancy. The Chiefs offense has expectations. They have expectations of themselves. They were able to get to that threshold, and I think that's good for them going forward. Definitely going to have to monitor some of the adjustments they make with the quick passing game, specifically to the flats. I think defenses are going to try to key more on that. You have to do more of these in-breaking routes with the running backs. Clyde did it very well. He does it very well. Use it more, and they basically did it. It was like a double slant where they had Pringle go out for slant, but they had Clyde coming in, so it's almost like they were aligned completely, and then they just ran slants, okay? And then he was wide open underneath it. So I think that you can continue to do that. Get him involved in the passing game more, because right now the running game has just not been great. They're not breaking off huge runs. You can generate some of that in the passing game, and you have to continue to do that to build their confidence. And again, when it comes down to it, I think all of it's about confidence. Right now, they're going to have confidence going forward, and I am super excited about the trajectory of this team. You get Snead, you get a week and a half rest, so it's a great mini bye time. You get Snead, hopefully you get Snead, you get Jones, and you get really get back for the next week, and then you can really start putting everything together, because the defense is playing at a high level. If you can get that offense to come back and give you another 20, I would say 25 plus point performance against the Steelers and again against the Bengals, you're really going to have something going in, because they have not been clicking on all cylinders, even though they've been winning. If they can click on all cylinders going through into the postseason, this team not only will be the 1 seed, I do believe they will win the AFC again and really be a threat to anybody that comes out of the NFC. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys are super excited. Start for 20 minutes basically on one breath almost. But again, you guys, thank you so much for the support you consistently give us. Today is Friday. We will have something for you on maybe on Sunday. I don't know yet, but definitely make sure you guys tune in on Monday for the Q&A. We're going to have some film for you next week. We're going to do some things here and there. We're going to have some extra time to get some stuff done. So you guys look forward to it. And I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.